The entire church fell silent for a moment, then erupted in whispers and gasped as the couple turned slowly to look behind them. There she was, Nia, walking gracefully down the center aisle with the brightest, most heartfelt smile anyone had ever seen on her face. She was dressed in a breathtaking, sparkling white wedding gown, the exact princess-style one trimmed with delicate diamonds and lace that she had tried on and fallen deeply in love with at the bridal boutique just weeks earlier. The gown shimmered under the church lights like something from a fairy tale, and for a second, no one could believe their eyes. Many years ago, in a quiet and close-knit village known as Iko, there once lived a determined young woman by the name of Nia. She was raising her little boy all alone while running a busy stall in the heart of the village market, selling everything from fresh produce to colorful fabrics. Life had not been kind to Nia. When she was only 16 years old, she found herself pregnant. The young man who was responsible for her condition had left the village suddenly, just days before she even realized what was happening inside her. She tried to find him, but there was no way to reach him, no phone, no address, nothing. When she finally told her parents, the shame was too much for them to bear. They could not face the gossip and disappointment from the community, so in anger and sorrow, they drove her out of their home. With nowhere else to go and carrying a child in her belly, Nia gathered what little she owned and walked away from everything she had ever known. She journeyed far until she reached the village of Iko, a place where no one knew her name or her story. She arrived as a complete stranger, tired, scared, and alone, but she refused to give up. Day after day, she worked harder than anyone else, taking on any small job she could find, washing clothes, helping in fields, selling whatever she could get her hands on. Slowly, through sheer grit and endless effort against all the odds stacked against her, she managed to survive. In time, she gave birth to a beautiful baby boy, and she named him Kofi, meaning born on Friday, the day he came into the world. As the years went by, little Kofi grew, and so did Nia's determination. By the time Kofi was 10 years old, Nia had transformed her tiny market stall into a proper, thriving business. She now had helpers working for her, a steady stream of customers who trusted her quality goods, and she had become one of the wealthiest and most admired women in all of Iko. At only 26 years old, Nia was still strikingly beautiful, with a gentle smile and a kind personality that made people feel warm around her. She could have easily remarried, many men noticed her, but there was always a problem. Whenever a suitor came close and learned about her success, the number of people she employed, and especially the fact that she had a young son, something changed. The men would start to feel small next to her achievements. They worried she was too powerful, too used to being in charge, and that she would never truly respect or follow a husband. On top of that, they saw Kofi as extra baggage, a child who would always come first and take away attention from them. One after another, the relationships ended quietly. No big fights, just slow withdrawals until they disappeared completely. Nia's heart ached every time it happened. Deep down, she dreamed of finding a good, loving man, walking down the aisle in a grand wedding ceremony surrounded by joy, and building a happy, complete family together. But it seemed that dream was slipping further away with each passing year. She began to wonder if her son Kofi was the main reason men kept running. Yet the thought of ever abandoning him for a man was unthinkable. Kofi was her world, her reason for everything. So she made a choice: she would stop chasing marriage and instead give all her love, energy, and resources to her boy. She would make sure he never felt lacking in any way. Thankfully, her business was strong and growing, so together mother and son created a warm, full life. Kofi grew up surrounded by love. He had the best clothes, toys, books, and food money could buy. More importantly, he had endless affection, bedtime stories, encouragement, and guidance. He never felt the emptiness of not having a father because Nia stepped into every role with such devotion. She enrolled him in the finest school in the area and already planned for his higher education and bright future. Their bond was so strong and visible that everyone noticed. Kofi's classmates often talked about how close he was to his mother. Some even teased him openly, asking, "Kofi, don't you have a father at all? That must be why you and your mama are always together like that." The comment started to weigh on the boy's heart. One evening, after holding it in for a while, he finally looked up at his mother and asked the question that had been burning inside him: "Mama, do I have a father?" Nia was completely caught off guard. This was the very first time he had ever asked. Her heart pounded as she searched his serious little face. My child, why are you asking this now? Is something wrong? Did someone at school say something hurtful? Do you need anything? Kofi didn't answer right away. He just kept looking at her with those big, expectant eyes. Nia realized he was no longer a small child, he deserved the truth. She took a deep breath, sat him close, and spoke softly. Yes, my son, you do have a father. But you have never met him, and as far as I know, he has no idea you exist. Back when I was still living with my parents in our old village, we were in a relationship. But he left suddenly before I even knew I was pregnant with you. There was no way for me to contact him. When my parents found out, the shame was too great for them. They threw me out of the house. So I came here to Iko, all alone, to have you and start our new life. But Kofi, please hear me, it doesn't change anything between us. We have been so happy together all these years. I am your mother, your protector, your everything. And you are my son, my joy, my whole world. Don't let anyone's words make you feel less. I promise you will never lack love or care from me. Tears welled up in Kofi's eyes. Moved by her words and the pain she had carried silently, he threw his arms around her in a tight hug. Mama, I promise I will always make you happy. I don't want you to ever feel alone or miss having a husband because of me. From that day, their connection grew even deeper. They were rarely apart. Because Nia was only 16 years older and still looked so young and vibrant, strangers who didn't know them sometimes mistook them for a young couple or even siblings. Their love was that visible and pure. One sunny afternoon, Nia and Kofi attended the grand wedding of one of Nia's trusted employees. The young bride was marrying a wealthy man, and the celebration was extravagant: music, dancing, delicious food, and everyone dressed in their finest. But what stole everyone's breath was the bride's gown, a sparkling white princess dress adorned with tiny diamonds that caught the light like stars. As she walked down the aisle, radiant and graceful, almost every woman in the room felt emotional, tears pricking their eyes at the beauty and romance of the moment. Nia, seated right next to her son, was no exception. The second she saw the dreamy gown, old fantasies flooded back, dreams she had buried long ago. Without realizing it, tears began rolling down her cheeks. She quickly dabbed them away with her handkerchief, hoping no one noticed. But Kofi saw. Surprised by her sudden emotion, he reached over, took her hand, and squeezed it gently to comfort her, letting her know he was there. The whole ceremony, Nia tried to hide her mixed feelings, smiling through the lump in her throat. Later, as they walked home under the evening sky, Kofi asked quietly, "Mama, what happened back there at the wedding? You were crying? Did something painful come to your mind?" Nia gave a small, sad smile. "Oh, my boy, it was just old memories surfacing. You see, long before you were born, I used to dream of wearing a beautiful wedding gown like that one and walking down the aisle to meet the man I loved. It was my biggest wish. But then life took a different turn. After you came, and after I worked so hard to build our life here, I thought maybe the dream could still happen one day. But every man who showed interest eventually left. It felt like an invisible force chased them away the moment they really knew me. So now, my son, that dream of being a bride feels dead. It can never come true." Kofi listened carefully, his heart aching for her. "Mama, don't say it's impossible. I still believe you can have your dream. One day, a good man will see how wonderful you are, and I will stand right behind you, holding your veil proudly." They both laughed at the image, but deep inside Nia's heart, something stirred, a small flame of hope rekindled. Perhaps it wasn't completely over. Time flew forward. Kofi grew into a fine young man and gained admission to university in the city, the first time he would leave his mother's side. The separation was heartbreaking for both, especially Nia, whose entire life had revolved around him. The house felt empty and hollow without his laughter and footsteps. She missed him so much that she couldn't sleep properly. Barely 1 week after he left, Nia packed a bag and traveled to see him. When Kofi opened his door that Saturday afternoon, he was stunned to see his mother standing there, looking exhausted, with dark circles under her eyes from sleepless nights. Mama. What are you doing here? You look unwell, are you sick? Nia stepped inside and wrapped him in a fierce hug. How have you been eating? Are you okay? I just needed to see you with my own eyes. Kofi smiled, touched. Mama, I'm perfectly fine. Just admit it, you miss me terribly. She stayed the whole weekend, fussing over him, cooking his favorite meals. After that, she made the trip every other weekend. Kofi's roommates began teasing him, calling him Mama's boy, but he just grinned and said, "You wouldn't understand the kind of love we have." Eventually, Kofi completed his studies with honors and secured a well-paying job in the city. He settled there but always came home regularly to visit Nia. Her business continued to flourish, even expanding. Their relationship remained rock-solid, comfortable, and loving until one day Kofi sat her down and said, "Mama, there's something important. I want to get married. I've been seeing a wonderful woman for almost 2 years." Nia felt the world tilt. She had been so wrapped up in their mother-son world that she hadn't prepared for this moment. But she was not selfish. She wanted only his happiness. "My son, time really flies. This is wonderful news. How long have you known her? Tell me everything." Kofi smiled. "Almost 2 years. I kept it quiet as a surprise. But she already knows all about you. I've told her every detail, and she loves you already. She can't wait to meet you." Nia's heart warmed. "Then I will love anyone who loves my son and treats him well." Kofi arranged for them to visit. His fiancée, Zora, was nervous. She had heard stories of overly attached mothers becoming difficult in-laws, so she had even asked Kofi to keep their relationship secret at first. But now the time had come. Kofi reassured her, "Don't worry, my love. My mother is the kindest person. If she loves me, she'll pour that same love on you." To Zora's astonishment, Nia welcomed her like a long-lost daughter, running to the kitchen to feed her pieces of fried fish, pulling her onto her lap to hug her, pampering her endlessly. Zora was overwhelmed by the genuine affection. She had braced for hostility but received pure love instead. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry from happiness. Even after they returned to the city, Nia called Zora every single day. Whenever Nia visited Kofi, she insisted Zora join them. Zora soon relaxed completely and fell deeply in love with her mother-in-law. She told everyone, including her own family, "I have the best mother-in-law in the world." The wedding date was set, and Nia was over the moon. For the first time, she would host a big celebration. Though it was her son's wedding, it felt like her own dream coming alive in a way. Zora and Nia planned everything together. Zora happily agreed to all of Nia's ideas, knowing how much this meant to her since she had never had her own chance. As the date neared, Zora took Nia along to shop for wedding gowns. After trying several and choosing hers, Zora saw the sparkle in Nia's eyes and said excitedly, "Mama, why don't you try some too? You're still so young and beautiful, they'll look perfect on you." Nia was surprised but thrilled. "Are you sure?" Zora nodded eagerly. She helped Nia try on several dresses. One in particular, a sparkling princess gown with intricate lace and subtle diamond accents, made Nia feel like a girl again. She wished she could buy it, but she pushed the thought aside and thanked Zora for the magical moment. That night, Nia couldn't sleep. She kept replaying the feeling of the gown on her skin. When she finally drifted off, she dreamed she was walking down an aisle in that very dress, crowds cheering and smiling at her. Kofi was delighted to see his wife-to-be and mother getting along so beautifully. Zora even gave them private moments when needed. The wedding day dawned. Nia had secretly gone back to the shop and bought the gown she loved. She dressed in it but stayed out of sight at first. Zora and Kofi looked stunning and ready. They searched for Nia but assumed she was busy with last-minute details. Inside the church, the minister invited the couple forward for their vows. As Zora and Kofi stepped to the altar, a wave of murmuring spread through the guests. The couple turned and froze. There was Nia, gliding toward them in her full bridal gown, beaming with pure joy. Kofi's face flushed with embarrassment. He whispered urgently, Mama, what are you doing? Why are you dressed like the bride? Nia smiled tenderly. My dear son, please let me share this day. I have longed for this feeling my entire life, but luck never allowed it. This is the only chance I may ever have. Just let me stand here with you. Kofi felt anger rising. You should have talked to me first. How do you think Zora feels? This is a special day. He started to say more, but Zora gently held his arm. My love, please. Let her enjoy this with us. I truly don't mind. She is my mother too, and if this brings her happiness today, I want that for her. Kofi looked from his mother to his understanding fiancé, then nodded reluctantly, though still upset. Nia stood behind them in her sparkling gown as they exchanged vows, tears of joy mixing with the moment. At the reception, when Zora changed into her dinner dress, Nia also changed into elegant evening wear. She had come fully prepared. Zora's mother was uncomfortable and pulled her daughter aside. What on earth is your mother-in-law thinking? Is this the same woman you praised so highly? This is not right. Zora stopped her family. Mama, please stop. You don't know her heart. She's not trying to steal anything. This is my wedding, and I'm not upset, I'm happy she's happy. Her mother shook her head in disbelief. You'll see. I'll be waiting when things go wrong. After the celebration, Zora and Kofi planned their honeymoon. Zora mentioned it to Nia, who shyly asked, could I come along? I've always wanted to know what a honeymoon